I didn't think money could mess up a normal marriage. Like, seriously. We weren't struggling. No cheating, no crazy fights, no drama. Just a normal life. Work, home, evenings together, sometimes seeing friends. Everything felt calm. Then she got promoted. At first, it was only good things. She called me that day, almost crying from happiness. I got it! They chose me! I remember I left work early, bought wine, we ordered food, celebrated like idiots. I was proud of her. Really proud. She worked hard for that. The first month? Nothing weird. She was tired, yeah. More calls, more pressure. But she still came home. We still talked, still watched stuff together. Then little things started changing. Not big, not obvious, but enough that I felt it. Like her tone. Before, when I talked, she listened. Now it felt like she was just waiting for me to finish. One evening I was telling her something about my day, nothing special, and she just checked her phone mid-sentence. Didn't even hide it. I stopped talking. She looked up and went, "Sorry, just something from work." And yeah, okay, fair. But it kept happening. Another time I asked her what she thinks about me maybe changing jobs. Nothing serious, just thinking out loud. She goes, "You should probably think more realistically." That one hit me weird. I asked, "What do you mean?" She shrugged. "Just, your field isn't exactly high growth. You know that." She said it like it was obvious, like she was explaining weather. Not trying to hurt me, but also not caring if it did. I laughed it off. Damn, okay, good to know. She smiled a little, but not really. And after that, I started noticing more. She stopped asking about my day, like completely. Before it was automatic. How was work? Now, nothing. I could come home, sit next to her, and she'd just keep scrolling or typing. So I stopped telling. What's the point if nobody's asking, right? Then came this weird thing where she started correcting me. Small stuff, but constant. We were at dinner with friends. I told a story. She interrupts, "No, that's not how it happened." Not joking, not smiling, just correcting. Everyone went quiet for a second. I kinda laughed, like, whatever, but inside it felt off. Later I asked her, "Why you gotta correct me like that in front of people?" She goes, "Because you say things wrong." Just like that. No apology, nothing. I told myself again, she's stressed. Big job, big responsibility. Don't overreact. But the part that really got to me was how she started talking about money. Not directly at first, just small comments. Like one time we were picking a place to eat, and I said something like, "Let's not go too expensive." She looks at me and says, "I can afford it." Not we, I. I noticed it immediately. Didn't say anything, though. Then it happened again a few days later. We were talking about maybe taking a trip. I said we should plan it properly, not rush. She goes, "I don't need to wait months to afford a vacation anymore." Again, not we. That's when it clicked a little. Something changed in how she saw things, or maybe how she saw me. I still tried to act normal, told myself I'm overthinking, that it's just words. But then came the night she invited me to meet her coworkers. And honestly, I wish I didn't go. I almost didn't go. She mentioned it casually, like it wasn't a big deal. "Hey, we're grabbing drinks after work on Friday. You can come if you want." If you want. That wording stuck with me. Before, it would have been, "You should come," or "I want you there." But whatever. I said yeah. Friday comes. I meet her outside this place downtown. Not our usual type of spot. Nicer. Louder. The kind of place where everyone's dressed like they're trying to prove something. She was already there, standing with 3 people. All from her team, I guess. And I swear, for a second, I didn't recognize her. Not physically, she looked the same. But the way she was standing, talking, laughing, it felt different. More confident, sure, but also sharper. Like she was performing. I walked up and she saw me. "Hey," she said, quick smile, then turned back to her conversation. No introduction, nothing. I just stood there for a second like an idiot. Eventually she went, "Oh, this is my husband." That's it. No name, no anything. One of the guys shook my hand. "Nice to meet you, man." They all seemed nice enough, polite, but the whole vibe was off. They were talking about work, deals, numbers, people I didn't know. I tried to follow, but it felt like jumping into a conversation halfway through. At one point, one of them asked me, "So, what do you do?" Simple question. I answered, gave a quick explanation. He nodded, said, "Got it." And before I could even finish, she jumped in. "It's pretty straightforward stuff, not too intense." She said it casually, like she was helping, but it landed weird. I felt it immediately. I just kind of smiled and took a sip of my drink. Later, they started talking about salaries. Not directly at first, just hints. Then one of them joked about bonuses, and suddenly everyone was throwing numbers around. Big numbers. I stayed quiet, didn't feel like my place to jump in. Then one of them looks at her and goes, "Wait, didn't you just get a huge bump?" She smiles. "Yeah, it was pretty significant." He laughs. "Damn, you're probably out-earning half of us already." And she goes, "Honestly? Probably." Laughs. Everyone laughs. Then she looks at me and says, "I think I make more than him now." Just like that, out loud, in front of everyone. There was this tiny pause, not long, maybe a second, but I felt it. That moment where people don't know if they should laugh or not. One of them chuckled awkwardly. I forced a smile. "Yeah, she does pretty well," I said. Tried to keep it light. But inside, something dropped. Not because of the money, but because of how she said it. Like it mattered. Like it meant something about us. After that, I kind of checked out. Still there physically, but not really in it. She didn't notice, or maybe she did and didn't care. She got louder as the night went on, more confident, more animated. At one point, she was telling a story about work, and she said, "Some people just don't operate on this level, you know?" And I don't think she meant me, but I still felt it. We left around midnight, walked to the car in silence. I thought maybe she'd say something like, "Hey, sorry if that was awkward," or "I didn't mean that." Nothing. We got in the car, drove for a bit. Then I finally said, "That thing you said back there about making more than me." She didn't even look at me. "What about it?" I paused. "I don't know. It was just weird to say like that." She sighed. "Why are you making it a thing?" I gripped the wheel a little tighter. "I'm not making it a thing. I'm just saying it felt unnecessary." She turned to me then. "It's just a fact. Why does that bother you?" That question hit harder than anything she said all night. Because I didn't have a clean answer. It wasn't just the money. It was everything around it. The tone, the way she looked at me. The way it felt like I was suddenly less. But I couldn't explain all that without sounding insecure. So I just said, "It's not about that." She shook her head, leaned back in her seat. "Okay."
That okay wasn't agreement, it was dismissal. We didn't talk the rest of the drive, and that night was the first time she didn't come to bed.
I woke up around 3 a.m. At first, I didn't even realize why. Then I reached over. Cold. I sat there for a second, just staring at her side of the bed like maybe I missed something. Checked my phone. 3:07. I got up, walked out to the living room. She was on the couch, laptop open. Lights off except for the screen. Didn't even look up when I walked in. "You coming to bed?" I asked. She kept typing. "I have work." That was it. No, in a bit. No, yeah, soon. Just that. I stood there for a second longer than I should have. Then I just said, "Okay," and went back. Didn't sleep much after that. Next morning, she was already up, dressed, coffee in hand, on her phone, like nothing happened. I wanted to bring it up, the night, the car, everything, but she was moving fast, like she had somewhere more important to be. "Hey," I said. "About yesterday, I'm gonna be late tonight," she cut in. Didn't even look at me. "Okay," I said. "But I just wanted to, I have a full day. We can talk later, all right?" Already grabbing her bag. And then she left. Door closed. And that was it. We never talked later. That became a pattern. Late nights, short answers, no real conversations. At first, she'd at least text, "Running late, still at work." Then even that stopped. She'd just come home whenever, sometimes 10 p.m., sometimes midnight. One time it was almost 2. I asked her about it, not aggressively, just trying to understand. "Where were you?" She looked at me like I asked something stupid. "Work, then drinks." "With who?" She sighed. "My team, you met them." There was that tone again, like I was behind, like I needed catching up. "I just thought maybe you'd let me know," I said. "I'm not doing anything wrong," she replied. "I didn't say you were." "Then why does it matter?" I didn't have a clean answer again, because it wasn't just about where she was. It was that I felt completely out of her life, like I was no longer part of it. "I just don't like not knowing," I said. She shook her head. "This is exactly what I mean." "What do you mean?" "You're making things heavier than they need to be." I just stood there, because to me, it didn't feel light at all. It felt like something was slipping, slowly, and I couldn't grab it. After that, I stopped asking as much. Not because I didn't care, because every time I tried, I felt like I was the problem, like I was being difficult. So I pulled back. And she didn't notice. Or if she did, she didn't react. We started living parallel. Same apartment, same space, but completely separate. She'd be on her laptop, I'd be on my phone. No talking unless necessary. Dinner became optional. Sometimes she'd eat out, sometimes I would. Sometimes we'd sit at the same table in silence. It wasn't even fighting. That would have been easier. At least that means something's still there. This was nothing. And the worst part? I started getting used to it. That's what scared me the most. Because once silence feels normal, you don't even realize how far things have already gone. And then one night, I made the mistake of actually saying what I felt. And that's when everything really broke. It wasn't even supposed to be a big conversation. I didn't plan some speech. I wasn't trying to start a fight. It just came out. We were both in the kitchen. She was heating something up, scrolling her phone with one hand. I was just standing there, watching her. And I said, "Do you even like being around me anymore?" She didn't answer right away, just kept scrolling. Then she goes, "Where is that coming from?" Not concerned, not confused, just annoyed. I felt stupid immediately, like I'd just said something dramatic for no reason. But I didn't back out this time. "I'm serious," I said. "It feels like you're not even here anymore." She finally looked at me. "I'm literally here right now." "That's not what I mean." "Then what do you mean?" I paused, tried to say it without sounding weak. "You don't talk to me. You come home late. You barely even look at me half the time." She rolled her eyes. "I'm busy." "I get that, but this is different." "No, it's not. I just have more responsibility now." "That doesn't explain this," I said, gesturing between us. She leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "Explain what? That I don't sit around every night watching TV anymore?" "That's not the point." "Then what is the point?" she snapped. Her tone shifted, sharper now, and I could feel the conversation slipping, but I kept going. "The point is, I feel like I don't matter to you anymore." There it was. Said it out loud. For a second, she just stared at me. Then she laughed. Not loud, not aggressive, just a quick, dry laugh. "That's a bit much, don't you think?" That hit harder than if she yelled. "I'm telling you how I feel," I said. "Yeah, but you're making it sound like I abandoned you or something." "It kind of feels like that." She shook her head. "You're being dramatic." I felt something tighten in my chest again. "I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm trying to talk to you." "And I'm telling you, there's nothing to talk about." That right there. That was the wall. I took a step back. "So this is just normal now?" "Yes," she said. "This is what life looks like when you're actually moving forward." I frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" She hesitated for half a second, then said it anyway. "It means not everyone stays in the same place forever." There it was. Not loud, not emotional, but clear. I just looked at her. "Are you talking about me?" She shrugged. "I mean, you said it, not me." That was the first time it felt direct, not implied, not hidden in tone, out loud. I felt my face get hot. "Wow," I said quietly. She grabbed her plate, walked past me like the conversation was over. I turned around. "So what? You think you're better than me now?" She stopped, slowly turned back, and the way she looked at me, I won't forget it. Not angry, not even defensive, just certain. "I think I've grown," she said. Silence. "And you haven't." That one didn't hit right away. It kind of just landed, sat there. And then it sank in all at once. I didn't even know what to say. Because no matter what I said next, I'd either sound insecure or prove her point. So I didn't say anything. She went back to the living room, sat down, started eating, turned something on, like nothing happened. And I just stood there in the kitchen, feeling like I was suddenly a guest in my own place. That night, I didn't even try to sleep next to her. I took a blanket, laid down on the couch, stared at the ceiling for hours. And for the first time, I had a thought I didn't want to admit. Maybe she's already checked out, and I'm the only one still pretending this is fixable. After that night, something in me changed. Not in a loud way, more like I stopped trying. Not completely, but enough. I didn't ask where she was anymore, didn't bring up how things felt, didn't try to start conversations that I knew would go nowhere. I just stayed quiet. And the scary part? It made things smoother. No tension, no arguments. We barely interacted, but at least it wasn't uncomfortable on the surface. It felt like we both silently agreed to stop poking at the problem. A couple living together, pretending everything's fine by not talking about anything real. Weeks went by like that. I started doing my own thing more, staying out later sometimes, seeing friends more. Not out of revenge, just because there was nothing waiting for me at home anymore. And she didn't question it, didn't ask where I was, didn't text. Nothing. That's when it really hit me. She wasn't just distant, she was detached. Like I could disappear for a few days and it wouldn't actually affect her routine. One night I got home late, around 11. Lights were on, but it was quiet. I walked in, dropped my keys, and saw her sitting at the table. Laptop closed this time, just sitting there. That alone felt unusual. "Hey," I said. She looked up. "Hey." There was something different in her voice, calmer, almost rehearsed. I felt it immediately, that weird tension before something you don't want to hear. I walked closer. "What's up?" She took a breath. "I've been thinking." Yeah, those 4 words, never a good sign. I pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. "Okay." She looked at me for a second. Not angry, not sad, just distant. "I don't think this is working anymore." There it was. No buildup, no emotion, just a statement. I didn't react right away. I think part of me already knew, but hearing it out loud still felt unreal. "What do you mean?" I asked, even though I understood exactly what she meant. She looked down at her hands, then back at me. "I feel like we're in completely different places." I nodded slowly. "Because of your job?" She shook her head. "It's not just the job." Pause. "I've changed." I didn't argue that. That part was obvious. "And I don't think we fit the same way anymore." That word again. Fit. Like we were some kind of mismatch now. I leaned back in my chair. "So what are you saying?" She held eye contact this time. "I think we should separate." Just like that. Clean, simple. Like she'd already processed all of it. Like this conversation was just a formality. I felt something heavy in my chest, but it wasn't panic. It was more like confirmation. Like the last piece clicking into place. I let out a small breath. "And that's it?" I asked. "You're just done?" She didn't hesitate. "I think it's the right thing." Right thing. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because of how calm she sounded. Like she was making a smart career decision, not ending a marriage. I looked at her. Really looked this time. and I realized something that hit harder than anything she said. She wasn't struggling with this. She was already past it, and I was just catching up. I nodded slowly. Okay. She blinked. Okay? Yeah, I said, if that's what you want. For the first time, she looked slightly unsure, just for a second, like she expected more resistance, more emotion. But I didn't have it in me. Not anymore. We sat there in silence, two people who used to share everything, now sitting across from each other like strangers finishing a conversation. And the weirdest part? There wasn't some big explosion, no yelling, no crying, just quiet. The kind of quiet that tells you it's already over. She stood up first. "I'll stay at a friend's place for a bit," she said. I nodded. Okay. She grabbed a small bag, not much, like she didn't need anything from here, like she had already moved on in her head a long time ago. She walked to the door, paused for a second, then left. And just like that, the apartment felt bigger and emptier. And I realized I hadn't actually lost her that night. I lost her slowly, piece by piece. I just refused to see it until there was nothing left to hold on to.
If you like this story, you'll find more like it on my channel.